Hello everyone and welcome to another card video. Today we'll be using some embossing folder, Seaside embossing folder by Stampin' Up, the Duh-Nuh by Fawn, and some cardstocks. I've got a piece of soft stone to change it up a little bit by Papertrey ink, and I'm just scoring this top folding card base at 5.5. I like to do the card base first because I lay everything out. I don't know, it's an OCD thing, I guess. So I tried to start ink blending my panel on Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock, but my little ink pad was dry, so I needed to re-ink it. And I love having these mini ink pads because I can have a lot of them. I don't have a lot of space, but I can have a lot of mini ink pads. And if you have the re-inker and wait patiently to re-ink them, you can have multiple colors. So it's just my way of having all the colors. Mermaid Lagoon was nice and liquidy though. So I'm using Mermaid Lagoon and Tumbled glass on the Tim Holtz watercolor cardstock to create my ink blended panel. And I'm just making it lighter at the top and darker at the bottom. This is Mama Elephant Femme frames, and it's a stitched rectangle, so I'm just cutting that down. And now I'm going to use the Stampin' Up Seaside embossing folder to create some ocean movement. It's not so much waves, but, you know, current. It's ocean current. So I'm going to stamp my images also on watercolor Tim Holtz cardstock, and I'm using VersaFine Onyx Black, and we're gonna clear heat emboss these. I'm doing multiple images. I don't need multiple images, but in order for me to keep my sharks, I need to make Dexter some sharks. So I did end up coloring a couple of them, and then I left one blank for him. So I'm just heat embossing those images, and now I'm using some water on my background to get that distress water look. These are my zigs. I keep them in a Riesenthal little bag and that I got from the Container Store, and I'm just picking out a few colors for my images. So both of my sons love sharks. They've always been fascinated by sharks, and Dexter's going through that shark phase right now. And it's funny because Bubba, which is my son, Hayden, he's 13, he used to call them Dennis. Like, he didn't call them sharks. He would see a shark on a piece of clothing or movie or whatever, and he'd be like, "Oh, look, a Dennis." It's those little things that are cute that don't last very long, so I never really corrected him. Along those same lines, I used to always say million, like Austin Powers. So my kids for the longest time would say million, like in school and stuff, and I thought it was hilarious, so I never really corrected them. You gotta amuse yourself sometimes when you're a parent. And it's not damaging, right? So I'm just finishing up my coloring with my zigs here. I like to put the color down and then draw it out with my brush. So I'm preparing to white heat emboss You Are Jawsome from the same Lawn Fawn stamp set. I'm using Simon Says stamp detail white embossing powder, and I'm just trimming that down into a straight sentiment like panel sentiment strip, trying to keep it as straight as possible. So now this is me laying everything out. I do my card base first because it's always usually the same color. And then I like to lay everything out, and that way I can see visually what I want it to look like. Does that make sense? I used some craft foam to pop up this, and some score tape to pop up this embossed panel here. And I'm just trying to lay everything out. I want this strip to be shorter, to come out from the right hand side. So I'm just marking with my little pencil here. This is a hard lead pencil, so it doesn't make a really strong pencil line. And cutting it down. That way it's coming out, jaunting out from the right hand side. I'm popping that up with some score tape. And actually I pop up all the images also with the 3M foam tape. Trying really hard to keep that thing straight. So I put some foam tape behind my images, and I'm just arranging them where I kind of want them to be. This is a little die from Papertrey ink, and that's how I cut out all my little hearts. I like this wonky looking heart here that it makes. So I'm putting that at the end of my sentiment because I think it looks cute. And I pre-created these little Nouveau drops, but because the background is embossed, it wasn't gonna work out well. So I kind of laid them out to see where I wanted them, and then used the Nouveau drops to create the little water effect. This is the jewel toned blue, and now for the life of me I can't remember what the color name is, so it'll be listed below. This is some vellum, and we're going to use VersaFine Onyx Black and some clear embossing powder to make my Dennis. At first, when I laid out this card, I was just going to use one Dennis, but my family told me that I needed to have more than one Dennis. So it's getting 2 Dennis today. So it could be like Dennis, Dennis, you know what I mean? They're kind of right. So I'm just clear heat embossing the Dennis. We're going to cut these down in very small little rectangles. And I'm just carefully placing some Ranger Multimedia matte behind the embossed letters to hide the adhesive on this vellum. Place it down where I want it, hold it for a few seconds, and then let it dry. That way it stays to that embossed background because of the raised parts of the background. You have to be a little inventive, I guess. So that's my card for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.
Someone shoot me.
Someone shot you?
Yeah.
Where?
So that's blood?
Yeah.
Where'd they shoot you?
Outside.
They shot you outside?
Yeah.
Outside of our house?
Uh-huh.
Where on your body did they shoot you?
They come down and shoot me.
Where?
In my mouth.
In your mouth?
Yeah, they try to shoot me.
Let me see your hands.
Is that blood?
Uh-huh, it's blood.
Yeah.
What'd you have for dinner?
Pizza. 'Cause it got me. Blood.
Did the pizza shoot you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got the gun.
The pizza shot you? Bubba, look.
Pizza shot him.
Yeah.
He got shot in the face by a pizza.
Yeah.
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 All right, let's go get